Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. Can tinnitus be cured? Well, this guide could possibly solve your hearing problems, possibly also mental problems and physical problems. Disclaimer, I'm not a professional. This is just based on my own hearing, having cured my own tinnitus, and having heard some of the stories from my friends and colleagues that did the same. Yes, I was lucky to know people that cured their own tinnitus. And let me just say that, you can't do this with everybody. The different degrees of tinnitus. But I feel that a lot of people out there are, I wouldn't say falsely diagnosed with tinnitus, but they don't realize that they're in a temporary state that they actually can cure. I think a lot of them just consider that there's something physically wrong in their ear and it will never get better. And you also hear this from a lot of companies because, of course, they have to sell them these products. I even saw it on a lot of sales pages like, oh, you've got tinnitus, there's nothing you can do except for having a hearing aid or some medication. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, I mean, I've cured my tinnitus. I've had it a couple of times, and it wasn't because I listened to loud music, it wasn't because I was reckless or stupid or whatever. Yeah, I did some things, I did some things that made it that provoked it for a short period of time, but I solved it, and I heard from some friends many years ago, actually, and colleagues, that they also solved their tinnitus, and this is basically a video about that. So let's get into it. I want to say that I believe that there are levels of physical degradation of hearing, and that it also follows the mental state of a person together with diet and physical shape. That's a pretty big mouthful, but let me just make it easy as easy as I can for most people to understand. I believe there's a big part of the overall group that struggles with hearing, which actually can be helped. And like I said before, I feel that professionals, they don't necessarily don't want you to get cured so they can sell you a product. Not necessarily. But imagine this. What if you went to, what do you call it, obstetrician? Those eye people where you get your glasses? What if you went to a glass store and they actually solved your problem? Would you come back to the store and buy glasses from them? No? So what is the alternative that they can sell you? Well, of course, they will give you some glasses. And what will they do on top of that? They will make sure that they tell you that your vision is getting worse and you need a new product and you need these new glasses for that to happen. Of course, they're good guys in the industry that don't want to do stuff like this, but I'm basically saying that this is how the entire world basically works. That in order for us to exist as human beings, we kind of also have to create businesses on this planet that don't fully solve problems. I remember several times at workplaces where I got into trouble, and you don't want to know why I got into trouble? Because I actually started helping people on a deeper level, where I solved problems that would have what do you call it, risen up in the future. You're not allowed to do that. A lot of companies will not allow you to solve problems on such a deep level, because that means that your work and their work won't exist for a long period of time. So, okay, I don't want to get all conspiratorial here, but I believe a tiny bit of this is happening in the tinnitus business, in other businesses in life. I won't say exactly what businesses, but so you just have to realize that there are some people in this box that have been diagnosed with tinnitus who seriously think that their hearing will never ever become better, that it is a curse, that they did something wrong, that they went to a concert and it blew away their hearing. And they could to some degree be right. Some of those people we might not be able to help looking at this video, but there are some people, some few people at least, that will benefit from looking at this video. And don't be scared looking at this video, because when you realize what will help you with your hearing, you will also realize that it isn't just hearing, it's other things in life, physical, mental problems that are also related to this. Now, I won't solve all of those problems, but what you're going to see in this video is just basic knowledge all the way from back into the root of what's causing most of these problems. And I have to say that these aren't easy problems to solve. It is so much easier going to a person who's going to give you a pill, give you some glasses, whatever, give you a lobotomy, whatever, so that you feel that you're all right, or you can't feel anything, you know. It's many times easier to solve a problem on that level. So you have to figure out, are you one of those people that are going to do these things? These are just normal, standard things that we all should be doing, you know. And so don't hate me for making this video, for trying to save the world, basically. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for making this video, but I'm going to at least save a couple of people out there. And yeah, having said that, let's get into the video. There's a lot of stuff I'm not going to read up. You can read it for yourself. But of course, when something traumatic happens to you, you know, you get involved in a car accident, something bad happens to you, you know, I don't know, something really traumatic happens, you can figure out what that means. This could also put a lot of stress on our hearing. You know, I gotta tell you guys something that's like a half secret. I once started at a job and I was so terrified at the stuff I had to do. I felt like I was making the world a much worse place by having that job. Because I'm just one of those people that are a bit special, you know. I just can't. I feel that when I do something, it has to help people, you know, truly help them at a deep level. And I felt that, especially with this job that I got, I was just making everything worse, so I could justify having the job, so I can justify making people worse. It didn't make me feel good, you know, and I was at a very, I wouldn't call it panicky state, but I was very stressed. And when you're extremely stressed, you know, you get eczema, you get tight in your body. It can easily lock up your sound. You could lose your voice, stuff like that. That's stuff that's real. That's stuff that happens to all of us in this world. There are things in our lives that really scare us. And there are some people that are in a very bad mental state, and once you get into that, it's very difficult getting out of that. And I'm not saying that I can just solve all those problems by you doing all of this, but I would say that I could, to some degree, make that easier for you long term, but short term it's probably going to make it more difficult. So yeah, that's the truth. It's horrible to hear, but that is the truth. And it's a funny thing, isn't it? It's a funny thing with life that humans constantly want to go down the path of least resistance and do what's easy. We wanna quickly make some money, get the girl, get the car, get the mansion. And that's like yeah, then we're there. Getting towards the goal. But life doesn't really work like that. If you think life is like that, you're more easily going to get into some kind of a bad situation, getting a bad job with some bad people. That's a fake lifestyle. Life is a lot harder than that. And typically, I feel that personally, this is just me, but personally, you have to go through a lot of bad stuff that you don't want to go through to realize that it actually helped you develop yourself to appreciate some certain aspects of life, so you could grow, not take things for granted, become more naturally hardened in a healthy way, but still showing love and respect and honesty, integrity, and stuff like that. But life is just tough, man. Life is tough, and many times you just get, for example, I've seen people getting fired for being perfectly honest, healthy, responsible people with integrity. I've seen it right and left. Many times you can be in that group that hasn't been fired and just think like, oh yeah, that guy got fired because he was sloppy, because he didn't understand it, because he was stupid. No, there are people every day getting fired because they simply have a higher standard, and they could on the surface seem as if they're stupid. But I've seen this happen, and I've had it happen to me, because I suddenly started asking questions. I didn't say yes to everything, and I didn't want to solve problems on a surface-like way just so we could satisfy our investors. I wanted to do something that really was long-term sustainable, and it's difficult. We all go through these things in life, and we don't really talk about it. We just keep it inside and smile to our friends, smile to our colleagues, and it's difficult. These are real things that we have to deal with, and they can easily be the reason for why we fall into a hole, have something mentally or physically happening to us, and that doesn't make us weaker as people. We just all have to go through these things in life and overcome different problems at different times. And yeah, really tough, really tough. But I feel that also the human body is extremely sensitive to physical tension. I feel this is a very big thing that we are neglecting in society. We constantly look at people on YouTube, internet, people that are health experts, and they're constantly raving about, oh yeah, you gotta run every day, you gotta exercise every day, you gotta lift those weights, you gotta do these exercises and that, this and that. And I think that we're always focusing on more and more, upping up the pace, doing more revs, lifting that weight up and down, up and down, up and down. But a very basic thing that we're missing is that with all this stuff that we're doing, all of this movement, all of this stretching, all of this lifting, even all of this eating that we're doing, and drinking especially, we're generating a lot of tension in our bodies. And so even though we on the outside are perhaps becoming stronger and more able at doing stuff, we have to kind of realize that that is not necessarily how you're feeling on the inside, okay? A lot of people, especially people that are in pretty decent shape, I'm not saying super shape, but pretty decent shape, they have a lot of tension building up. And just because you're physically big and muscular does not mean that you're healthy. And just because you're thin and close to your ideal weight does not mean that you are physically healthy. A lot of people will want to make themselves believe that. And my personal experience is that having been with a lot of those people that are close to their ideal weights, or perhaps a bit below that, a lot of those people, not all, I can't generalize and say all, but a lot of those people have some serious problems. And it's usually as a symptom, because of that, they have a lot of tension. And when you have a lot of tension, you have to realize that your personal view on the world, how everything works, gets distorted. You fall into a hole and you never know that you actually fell into that hole. I've many times in the past been in this hole, and I never realized that I was in it before I actually started doing some stuff. It's a bit like the hi-fi world, you know? You're in this zone of sound. It's the best you've ever heard. And you can't believe the people that are saying that this brand is better, this brand is better, or this brand is better. What are they talking about? You know, this is the best sound you've ever heard. You heard those brands. They never sounded that good to you until you break that reality and you get that other brand that they're talking about, and you get to develop that skill and make things work better. Of course, then you realize that, oh my God, how could you have been in this zone before and thought that this was the best in the world? And it's a bit like that with your mental health, with your physical health. A lot of things in life, we're just stuck in the moment, and we can't see past that moment. And sometimes we're in such a bad shape, we can't even feel that we are in a bad shape. Well, we're just thinking that this is the new normal. This is fine, you know. I've always had a limp. I've always had this numbness in my arm. I've always had this and that. You know, I've always not been able to stay awake more than 6 hours before I had to sleep. Stuff like this, you know, just random stuff I'm coming up with. But sometimes you just have to do some stuff that you're not used to, that is out of your usual routine, to really realize how bad a state you're really in, you know. And let me just get on with the text. So you can have like 3 people that are eating the same crap food and drinking the same crap stuff, and they can all react differently. But you have to know that the people that react better are not necessarily aware of why they are reacting better. Most likely is, in terms of my experience, is that they just regenerate faster.